Good. So I'm going to lead you into some simple practices. There's one thing I love to do to show the effectiveness of this, and it never gets old for me. um, and I'm going to invite everybody to count the number of breaths they take in the next time frame, so that they've got a marker to see where they're at. So I've got my stopwatch here. So when I say start, you're going to begin to count the breaths you're taking. So an in and an out will be 1. And then when I say stop, you'll note the number that you got to. Okay. I won't check in with you, Steph, because you've been both definitely, you're probably really, regulated with all this. But anyway, so we're all going to count our breath in 3, 2, 1, start. And stop. Whatever number you got to, double that number. And that's the number of breaths per minute you're taking at the moment. Okay, so let's go into some of the lovely regulating things we do in TRE, and then a coherent breathing meditation. And we'll check in with the breathing rate again in a bit. So remember that everything I say is an invitation. I'd always say if it's not feeling right in your body, and we're all built differently, our nervous systems are all different, just go back to a previous practice that was regulating, because the aim of this session is to regulate you, not to stir things up. So let's just start off with a little bit of grounding. You may want to close your eyes or gaze softly at the floor or something you find calming. And the invitation is to notice where the bottom of your body is meeting the ground underneath you, maybe through your feet, maybe through your hips and buttocks. Notice the sensations that tell you you're really here. Maybe pressure feelings, pulsing, or something else. Sort of asking yourself that question, how do I know my feet are on the ground? How do I know I'm sitting on this chair? Good. Maybe also notice the sensations of air on your skin. Notice also the sensations of your clothes on your skin. Notice any sounds you can hear inside or outside the room you're in. Good. Notice what's going on internally in your body. Maybe you're aware of your heart or your pulses. Good. When you feel ready, come back to the sensations of maybe your feet on the ground, and slowly, gently, if your eyes were closed, slowly, gently open them. Good. And what I'm doing here actually with everyone is I'm co-regulating, even though I'm not actually with you. I'm using my voice, I'm using these practices to co-regulate, because of something you touched on, this importance of connection is so important. This co-regulation is vital to us as mammals. Yeah. So let's take a moment now to do something we do in TRE. It's the orienting response. So most of us spend a lot of time in foveal vision, fight, flight, or tunnel vision. And simply orienting to our world sends messages into what I would call the primitive parts of the brain, the animal parts. So the invitation is to have your eyes open and take a super slow head turn. We're going at snail speed. smooth if you can. The vagus nerve comes out of the back of your neck. It likes this smooth, slow movement. Take in the shapes, the colors, the textures you can see. And whenever you get to one shoulder, take a pause there, couple of breaths. If anyone watching this is getting dizzy, spacey, or nauseous doing this, don't do it. Just maybe look at one thing for a few breaths and then find something else in a different direction to look at. Otherwise, after a couple of breaths at that shoulder, I'm going to slowly turn towards the other shoulder. Again, taking in what you can see as you go. Again, whenever you get to that other shoulder, take a pause there. You may notice little signs of regulation happening, the nervous system down-regulating. I just did a little sigh, swallows, tummy gurglings, all lovely signs, yawns. Great. After that couple of breaths, you're going to come back to the middle. See if, as you come back to the middle, you can simultaneously maintain awareness of your feet or your hips and buttocks resting into the chair. Good. Okay. So that's orienting. I love these things because they're so simple, but we can bring them into our daily life as and when. Good. So the next thing I would like to do with you is a lovely little breath practice called drop breath. And I find it a nice intro to the conscious connected breath, actually. It's like the conscious connected breath, but with a safety pause. So what you're going to do is you're going to breathe in through your nose. You're going to sigh the breath out either through your nose or your mouth. And at the bottom of the out-breath, wait for the breath to breathe you. Wait for your breath to arise naturally. When it does, we keep that rolling along. So breathe in, sigh the breath out, and then wait. Enjoy that pause where there's nothing to do, if you can. And the breath arises, breathe in again. As you sigh out this time, notice if you can allow yourself to sink even more, drop down into the ground underneath you. Good. Feel that connection with the ground as you drop. Enjoy the pause if you can while you wait for the next breath to arise. Breathing practice is regulating your breath so you're not over breathing. Okay, take another in breath. Now check in. Am I breathing up into my shoulders? Ideally not. Ideally we're breathing wide, laterally as well, maybe into our belly or our side ribs. Pause is where magic is happening in your bloodstream. Your cells are soaking up oxygen, putting CO2 back out. Because most of us are over breathing. We're breathing out too much CO2. Let's take a couple more of these lovely breaths. Breathe in through the nose. Sigh the breath out. Enjoy that pause if you can. Nothing to do. Last one, when it arises, breathe in through the nose. Sigh the breath out. And then when your natural breath comes back, just allow your natural breath to restore itself and notice how it is in your body now. Okay. So before we go into our coherent breathing meditation, I'd just like to let everybody who's watching check in what those 3 simple things have done. So we've grounded, we've oriented, and we've done some drop breath. So let's see the effects on the breathing rate. So beginning to count your breaths and in and out being 1 in 3, 2, 1, start. and stop. Whatever number you got to, double that number. And that's how many breaths per minute you're taking now. I'm guessing by the look on your face, Steph, that you came down. Yeah, I've seen people come down from sort of 18 to 10, for example. So we know from all Stephen Elliott's great work with coherent breathing and also the HeartMath Institute that our natural breathing rate for optimal health is around 5 to 7 breaths per minute. And you can look at his website, and there's loads of great information about that. So when we breathe this way, this sort of magic happens in the body of the electrical rhythms of the brain, heart, circulation, everything comes into resonance and supports everything else. So now I've down regulated you with some drop breath. We're going to see about breathing coherently now. So we're going to go for 5 in, 5 out. If anyone finds that still not working for them, do feel you can take a pause at the top of the in-breath or the bottom of the out-breath, or just relax if that's not feeling right. And you might even want to lie down or recline for this bit. So get comfortable, and you may even want to have your hands on your heart, one on your heart, one on your belly. And the invitation is to begin to notice your breath, just moving your body. Notice what happens. Maybe your hands moving on your belly, maybe your hands moving on your heart. And I'm going to start playing this lovely bell track now. You're going to hear a bell and you're going to breathe in. You hear the next bell and you breathe out. And you might want to keep this breath really, really gentle. So you could make it so gentle we wouldn't see a feather moving under your nose. And that gentle way in can be really good, especially if you get anxious around the breath. So we're following the bell. One bell, you breathe in. Do add a little pause if you need to. The next bell, you breathe out. Good. And stay with a super gentle breath with this if that's feeling right for your body. Otherwise, it can be really great to maybe breathe into starting off breathing into the hand on your belly. Almost like you're breathing into the safe holding of your own hands. So breathe into space if there's space there. Don't push against tension though. A really beautiful visual that a client actually taught me is to imagine that the universe is like a giant tablecloth. And as you breathe in, the edges come in towards you. And as you breathe out, they just float back out again. See if that works for you. So the tablecloth is coming in, you're breathing into the hands on your belly. Allow yourself to let go a little or a lot on every out breath. If you run out of room breathing into your belly, you might want to allow the breath to come up into your heart area. This belly breathing is good for so many reasons. Often we end up high and fast with the breath in the chest, fight flight breathing patterns, and then the belly gets neglected. So when we breathe into our belly, we're not actually breathing into our belly, but the diaphragm's moving down and it's pushing your belly out. That movement of the diaphragm giving you a lovely massage. It's also stretching and toning your vagus nerve, and it's pulling air into the lower lobes of your lungs, which have more receptors for the rest and digest parasympathetic nervous system. Upper chest is more flight receptors. So it's going to feel calming for most people. Good. Stay with yourself. See if you can follow every breath in and out. Good. You may even start to notice that this feels good. And don't worry either if it doesn't. Sometimes there's a bit of a journey and you may need to practice this every day. Our receptors in our brainstem can get stuck on breathing faster. Too much CO2 in the system. Sorry, too little. Stay with your body. Stay with your breath as best you can. If your mind's starting to wander, you can see about gently bringing it back to following the breath in and out. If you want to, you could even visualize some beautiful color coming in, soothing your body as you breathe in. Letting go on the out-breath, letting go of some of what you no longer need right now. We're regulating your nervous system. It's a balancing breath. What I would call relaxed aliveness, where we're calm but alert, brings optimal blood flow to the brain. And if you're finding it hard to simply sit and breathe, you're welcome to bring in maybe an arm movement. Breathe, arms come up as you breathe in, arms come down as you breathe out, or even a simple head nodding movement. Anything that works for you. And when you feel ready, you can maybe at the end of this next exhalation, I'll stop the bells. And you can relax back into your natural breath. Notice how it feels in your body, having done that simple, short practice. And whenever you feel ready, you can come back into the room where you can stay relaxing.